Hello guys, it's Unders, and as you can see we're inside Logic and we're having a look at the new instrument Chords from the guys over at Loopmasters and sold over at Plugin Boutique. Chords is following on in their series of plugins from Bassmaster. If you haven't seen Bassmaster, I'll link the video for you here. They work in a really similar fashion and they really do go hand in hand very well together. So I've spent just 10 minutes with Chords getting a nice overview of it, and I've put together this really short project here. Everything you hear is this Chords plugin with the exception of the percussion and drums. So it's just a little 16-bar loop, so I'll just play that for you here. So as you can hear there, we've managed to get like a moving pad, we've managed to get a bit of a re-bass line, we've got the vocal stab that pulses over and over, and some like piano choppy chords going. We've done that all in just a couple of minutes using the way that Chords works. So if we have a look at the plugin here, we've just grabbed the top version, which is the section that we've done the bass line on. So it kind of works as these two synths, one on top of the other, and they're completely sample based. As you can see, we've got the chord layer and then we've got the note layer. Over on the left hand side here is where we can choose the sound for the chord layer or the sound for the note layer, and then it works left to right systematically, and these two work separately. The only link that really comes into them here is this transpose section here. So that lets us put the transposition of both either up or down, or we can tune them independently. For example, we could use the note here and we could tune our bass down a whole octave by dropping it -12, giving some very different feels to the sound. Alternatively, we can detune them in a chord fashion by perhaps making the note operate just a ninth above here. Now in the sample section here, if we click on it, we've got a selection for major and minor feel, and then they divide into different subtypes as well, and there's a couple of hundred approximately different samples in here to choose from. On the note layer, it's a similar story, except they're a slightly different sample set, aimed at being that note layer rather than the chord. At the end, there's a little shuffle icon, and this means we can shuffle very quickly, changing out the sound, and they should always work together. So if we shuffle our broody bass, got a very different sound, very different feel. I'm going to go back to having our bass loaded there. Now moving along, we've got stretch, which can be activated or deactivated. See how I've got it active here on the note layer. If I take out this top synth completely, we can hear what that's doing. I've actually sped the sample up a little bit and pushed the formant up, and that's how I've made that resound. If we turn it off, you'll hear a considerable difference to the sound. It's now far more static. This section next pushes into the filter. As you can see, they're named accordingly. You've got note and chord filter. We've got a nice pre-drive, so we can do a bit of distortion into the filter. And we've got a nice drop down of different filter types. Notice that we've got low pass, band pass, and high pass, and at variant octaves from 6, 12, and 18, up to 24 dB per octave. Then got a cutoff and the ability to key track based on the key triggered. This means the cutoff, if set, will move relative to the frequency point of that note being triggered, and a resonance to go with it. This then follows on into a filter envelope with a nice ADSR control and a filter LFOs. Again, we've utilized this here to cause that slight bass wobble. If we were to dial it back, again, we're very static. We've introduced it here just to give a little bit of wobble. And it's running in sync, so 1/4. And we can take sync off and choose hertz instead. And then we've got a balance between the two of the levels. Going to the bottom section, we've got 3 effects: chorus, delay, and reverb. Really important to note that the section above here, routing, we can adjust the order, so it's now processing chorus, reverb, and delay, but the effects themselves here do not change in their order, so you need to refer to that routing to make sure it is in fact operating in the order you expect. You just click here to change the order. We've got our voice settings over here on the left, so we can switch portamento into legato if we need to and adjust our glide time. We're going to have our range for a pitch bend adjusted here, and then we've got a modulation wheel that we can assign to just about any parameter inside Chords. I haven't utilized that. And lastly, we've got frequency booster. So this allows us to essentially do some EQ, so we can do a top, middle, or bottom boost. And then we've got our wet dry mix between the two. So if we wanted to add some extra top end here, and we left this on dry, we wouldn't really hear a difference, but when we boost it into wet, we will. And that's a parallel processing EQ there. So that's been a quick breakdown of the new Chords plugin. I suggest that you download and try out the demo. It's very useful. If you've been working with Bassmaster, they work hand in hand very, very well. And I will see you guys on the next video.